Hello, everybody. It's your boy, the Punk Otaku Scribe, and it's that time of year where, when the year begins, we look back fondly on the movies of the previous year. We look back on the movies that made us laugh, the movies that made us cry, and the movies that moved us. And that's what I'm here to do today, is to look back on the movies that made me laugh, made me cry, and moved me. This is my top 10 films of 2023. Directed by and starring Michael B. Jordan, Creed 3 is the third installment of the Creed franchise and the ninth overall in the Rocky franchise. By this point, Michael B. Jordan has completely found himself in his character, and you can tell that he really loves this universe. His chemistry with Tessa Thompson has been flawless throughout all three of these movies, and the heart that this franchise has been putting out has been giving such respect to the Rocky legacy. And especially in this film, it's really going a full 10, full 11. There's so much stakes here with Adonis having to fight an old childhood friend of his and what that could mean for his career moving forward and what that means about where his life has gone up to this point. I hope that there is a fourth Creed. I hope that there's 6 to 10 more of these movies. I could watch this franchise forever. Cobweb stars Anthony Starr and Lizzie Kaplan and centers around a family that holds a very dark secret. Or do they? This movie had me gripping the arms of my chair the entire time. It's dark and gloomy, but also very gripping and suspenseful. When I first heard about this movie, I didn't think that I would like it very much. It was like, okay, Hulu horror movie, those are a dime a dozen, but let's check it out. And I'm very glad that I did. After I watched it, I felt like, okay, sure, I like it, but I don't know if it's top 10 list material, but I watched it a couple more times and I sat with it. And the more I thought about it, the more I sat with it, the more I realized how good this movie is. Its third act completely subverts it. And if you heard about the third act, on paper you'd think, oh, that just derails the whole movie, but it works. And it works really well. If you haven't checked it out yet and you have a Hulu account, or even if you don't, go find a friend with a Hulu account and check this movie out now. Cobweb is incredible. Now, I understand that I may have upset a couple of people putting this one as low on the list as I did. Now, I do have an explanation, and it may not get you on my side, and that's okay, but I just want to tell you where I'm coming from. So, first off, I really love this movie. I did. I fell in love with it even when I first saw it. It's a beautiful movie to look at. It has a great story, great performances, and it's unique and different, and we need stuff like that. But it had a couple of things that made it disappointing. Not bad, but disappointing because of these choices. One of which being the Nimona character. That kind of like crazy, kooky personality in characters, it just doesn't really work for me in movies. She got grating for me for a while. Now, I will say that I did sympathize with her backstory. I thought it was very well written. I thought she was very well written, but when they try to make her funny, I wasn't really into it. And there's also a narrative choice near the end that has to do with Nimona that I feel was only done to make everything in the third act make sense. But as a whole package, it's a wonderful movie, and I urge everyone to go check it out and see it on Netflix. Now, this was probably, hands down, the most fun I had in the theater last year. And it was such a big deal because it's the first Evil Dead movie in 10 years. I was blown away by this as a big Evil Dead fan. But man, this was totally worth it. Horror has been giving us some really good performances in recent years. In 2022, we had Mia Goth as Pearl, and in 2023, for Evil Dead Rise, we have Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie. And her performance, just like Mia Goth, is going to go down in horror history as one of the greats. This movie is visceral and uncomfortable, unkind, unflinching, but also really funny and really dark. It's everything Evil Dead should be, and to me is now the best Evil Dead movie. I know how that sounds, but it is. I adored this movie. I had a great time with it. And if you're an Evil Dead fan, if you're a horror fan, if you just like movies, please go find it and check it out. You won't be disappointed. If the combo of Seth Rogen with Evan Goldberg and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of makes you wince or cringe at the sound of it, I feel bad for you, because this combo here turned out to be pretty good. This movie has so much charm. It's oozing out of it at every second. Its art style is so cool and beautiful to look at. It was sort of reminiscent of the old Ninja Turtle Mirage comics. And the chemistry between the turtles, forget about it. It was so beautifully intertwined in the dialogue, and it was so electric. You can't help but love them. This movie had so much heart. I loved every minute of it. And, it's obviously going to spawn a franchise. I'm looking forward to it. But if this was its only movie, I'd be perfectly satisfied with that. This was incredible. Okay, I lied. I'm gonna level with you, okay? This was the most fun I had in the theater last year. If you asked me to describe John Wick 4 in one word, it would be masterclass. John Wick 4 is a masterclass in action. And I'm not saying that to be over the top. I'm not saying it to be exaggerative. I mean it. It is a masterclass in action. This movie is this close to being just one long 3-hour action scene. The plot is pretty paper thin, but you don't care because of how intricately put together the action scenes are. It's so mesmerizing. You can't help but just look at it and watch it. And before you know it, 3 hours has passed by. You have no idea where the time went. Once the movie starts getting quiet near the end, you just let out this breath like, whew, that was a wild ride. And man, it sure is. It's a wild ride. And I'm going to go on that wild ride hundreds of times more and not get tired of it. The MCU has not been that great in recent years. That's no secret to anybody. But the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was definitely a bright spot in just the slate of mediocrity that we have been getting as of late. And man, this movie could not have come at a better time. The only reason it's in the spot that it is because I liked the next 3 films more than this one, but this one was a very, very strong contender for spots 3, 2, or even 1. It was such a gut punch of a roller coaster ride. This movie makes you cry for a talking raccoon and his little animal friends. It's amazing. And if this is absolutely the last that we ever see of the Guardians, it's an amazing note to fall on. And if you didn't see it, I urge you to see it now. Now, I just reviewed this one, so I won't speak on it too much. But man, what a juggernaut of a movie this has been. It's had such a wild run of success, and it's been nominated for Best Visual Effects at the Oscars. Very, very well deserved. Does it deserve more nominations? Absolutely, for sure. Does it need them? No, absolutely not. But if you didn't see it, you missed out. And let's hope that Blu-ray comes out soon, because man, I'm gonna get my hands on it immediately. Yeah, some of you out there probably aren't gonna like the placement of this one either. But when I get to number one, and after I talk about it, I'll explain why I placed number two and number one the way that I did. But that doesn't mean that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a slasher movie. It's not. In fact, it's far from that. This and Into the Spider-Verse are such special films. They're a revolution in the superhero genre, in animated films, in storytelling, in animation. There are such technical marvels on so many levels. And man, I am so thankful that they exist, and I can't wait to see where this franchise goes. I adored this movie more than I probably adored number one, but like I said, I'll explain why I placed the movies the way I did. But Spider Man Across the Spider Verse, you got a special place in my heart. And now, before we see what number one is, some honorable mentions. Okay, let me explain. This movie was something that I was not initially excited for. I said so before in a previous video that when it was announced, it wasn't something that really interested me. I thought to myself, I'm just not going to want to see that. And then I started seeing promotional material, and it kind of piqued my interest, but I still wasn't very excited for it. I did pull the Barbenheimer. I saw it as a double feature with Oppenheimer and everything, and going into that, I thought, okay, maybe it'll just be fun. It'll be fine. But I came out of that movie theater liking Barbie more than Oppenheimer and being in love with it. This movie was not anything that I expected, and it hit me with the left and right hook that I just did not see coming. Look, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, as great as it is something that we've already seen a lot of, technically. It's a superhero movie, and it's a sequel to a previous superhero movie. We've been seeing a lot of those. As great as Across the Spider-Verse is, that's what it is. It's a sequel to a superhero movie. Barbie is something that could very easily get franchised. I think they're not going to do that, but it very easily could. But that is why it's number one over Spider-Man, because everyone thought they knew the movie that we were going to get. And it overcame all of those expectations. It overcame my expectations, and even some people that I know personally that saw it. I know other people personally too that to this day refuse to watch it because they think they know what movie they're going to get, and they made fun of me for liking as much as I have, and others for liking as much as they have. And for those of you watching right now, you know who you are. Listen to me right now. You don't know what movie you're going to get. You don't know what movie this is. Now, I'm not saying if you watch it, you'll like it. This stuff is subjective. What I am saying is give it a chance. And you may be surprised, you may not. But whatever movie you're seeing in your head is not what it is at all. And it's because of all of those things that Barbie is my top film of 2023. Well, that's my top 10 films of 2023 list. What did you think? Do you agree with me at all? Do you disagree with me at all? What are your top films of 2023? Let me know down in the comments. I'd really love to see what you thought of this list and what your lists are. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. If you like what you saw, give it a like, leave a comment. Be sure to follow all my socials, linked down in the description. I've been the Punk Otaku Scribe, and we'll see what 2024 has in store. See you in the next one.